Sara Carter wipes the smirk off John Brennan's face over his latest Trump attack by us4trump.com. Our favorite war correspondent is out on Twitter and responding to disgraced former CIA Director John Brennan. Just a few weeks ago in April, Sara was on the Hannity show, and she discusses exactly how Brennan was pushing the anti-Trump investigation to open a special counsel. Sara Carter says that Harry Reid said he felt pressured by Brennan as well, and that Clapper may be next in the dominoes that fall. Clearly, Brennan is in a world of hurt. He is disgraced and may be very concerned that he will be going to jail. Check out the video below with Sara Carter. Let's take a listen. I can't wait for that guy to serve justice, that arrogant attitude of his.
Joining us now is Sara Carter, investigative reporter, Fox News contributor. David Schoen is a civil liberties attorney, and welcome both of you to the program. Let me start with the legal question. Is Donald Trump right, David Schoen, that the fact that it was an illegal leak that started this special counsel, and if in fact there was no intelligence behind any of this investigation, does that mean that the appointment of the special counsel was illegal?
I think it means a lot of things. Look, there's a bit of discretion in appointing a special counsel. I think it means a lot of things. If one can really show that the ab initio, this investigation was illegal, or was presented to the court, was omitted relevant facts, gave a skewed view of relevant facts. I think that people who have pled guilty have the opportunity now, and should have the opportunity, to reopen things and to see whether there was impeachment evidence withheld from them, but more importantly, whether there was exculpatory evidence withheld from them. And yes, the special prosecutor, the special counsel appointment may well have been inappropriate. I don't know if the term illegal is right here, but the whoever appointed.
Well, if you use intelligence that you're not allowed to leak to a Columbia professor, I mean, that statement is true, right?
Yes, those kinds of, if that's what you're talking about, that appears to be on the face of it something illegal and completely inappropriate, and anyone implicated in the investigation is entitled to have that information, and people should be livid about it.
On these two issues, Sara Carter, I think the idea that there was no intelligence at all behind the decision on investigating Trump-Russia collusion is stunning to me.
It is stunning, and I think what's even more stunning is if you dig a little deeper, and remember we were the first to break the fact that Sidney Blumenthal was involved in this, and these are Hillary Clinton very close confidants and advisors, Sidney Blumenthal over at State Department, as well as Cody Shearer, a former journalist who went on to work with President Bill Clinton and was an investigator and a close ally and aide of Hillary Clinton, that these two men were directly involved with this information, the information that was in the dossier. They were connected to Christopher Steele. How did this information end up in the State Department and those people at the State Department that were then spreading that information? How did it end up in Brennan's hands? See, these are all the questions that the congressional committees want to know if they're investigating. So we look at the electronic communication. That's the very beginning, Sean, of this investigation. He fights and fights and fights for this electronic communication, which is really not considered classified. Finally, with the threat, of contempt, they turn over the electronic communication to Devin Nunes, to the chair of the House Intelligence Committee. They take a look at it, and lo and behold, they realize, oh, wait, there's really no intelligence here, no direct intelligence that would open this investigation, something that would be explosive, right? Something that would either have a picture or have evidence from people overseas that there was some kind of collusion between the President Trump's campaign in Russia. So now they've got to ask these questions. Who were they talking to beyond this electronic communication? How was the information moved? Who was in charge of pushing that information? We also see that Harry Reid, right, who was, remember, being pushed by Brennan at the time to ask the FBI to open an investigation when Brennan came and tried to brief the Gang of Eight, the intelligence heads, on Congress. He's now saying in book that was recently published that he felt that he was being used by Brennan to push for this investigation. So believe me, they are going to be looking at details of this because, you know, we've hated using this, but as it unravels or as this onion got peeled back, more and more evidence became apparent that there was a lack of evidence and information that the intelligence community had to open this investigation, and it appeared on its face to have been politically motivated in order to corner the president and eventually lead to Comey actually asking for a special counsel to investigate the president with the intention. Remember,
well, what about John Brennan colluding? There was a Spectator article out this weekend that really, the headline grabbed my attention, confirmed John Brennan colluded with foreign spies to defeat Trump. David, what'd you think of that article?
Well, I haven't gotten to read the article, but I must tell you that it's a real concern. I'm sorry, I wanted to get back to one point you were making a second ago, though, because there's another element to all of this that's very important. Don't expect people like Andrew Weissman and Robert Mueller, unfortunately, to take a step back and question the legality of the investigation. Because I have to tell you, I have a case with Andrew Weissman in which the source for the surveillance, search and seizure orders in the case, etc., and their applications, the source was an unnamed source. However, Mr. Weissman vouched for the credibility of it. It turned out that source was a mafia killer with a corrupt relationship with an FBI agent. So the idea that in this case that facts were omitted and false facts were given to a court isn't going to be, unfortunately, a stop sign to this special counsel office, I'm afraid.
You know, I think when the president, I want to go back to the role that maybe Brennan and Clapper had in all of this, Sara, and I was asking about the Spectator article about John Brennan working with foreign entities. Did you see any evidence of that? Jim Jordan saying that Clapper leaked dossier briefing to CNN, and the leaker Richmond had special FBI access. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they're onto what I have been hearing from the very beginning of this investigation, and going all the way back more than a year. Look, we know for a fact now that they are honing in on Clapper, that when the president was briefed in January, remember at Trump Tower, when he was briefed by Comey on this dossier, that it basically allowed there to be a foundation for all of these news agencies who, by the way, were given this dossier by Christopher Steele, who also lied to the FBI because he was trying to shop it around. He was trying to shop the dossier around that he'd gotten the FBI to start the investigation on. They didn't want to run it because it was so salacious and so bizarre that most news agencies were terrified of running it. So they needed to have a news hook. They needed to have a platform. You have the briefing at Trump Tower. Then later, shortly after that briefing, which Clapper, by the way, according to Comey, directed Comey to brief him in private, to brief President-elect Trump in private. And then all of a sudden, it's leaked to CNN. Right now, we know that the congressional committees are investigating Clapper for that leak. And now, what is Clapper? Clapper is an analyst on CNN, a paid analyst. We also know that Brennan was closely involved. He was always working with Clapper on a variety of these issues. And now there's reports that Brennan had traveled to Moscow possibly during that time and had met with people in Moscow that they're looking into. This is very concerning because all of a sudden what they're trying to accuse President Trump of, and his campaign, which is collusion with the Russians, appears to be more and more collusion amongst our intelligence community, collusion between the Hillary Clinton campaign and foreign nationals and foreign ex-spies like Christopher Steele and Russians as well. So it's kind of flipped on its face. What they were trying to accuse the President Trump of and his campaign appears to be exactly what they were doing.
That's why I called this at the beginning of the year of the boomerang. I didn't know how right I was. I knew we were right, and it's now coming to fruition. And obviously, deep state actors that now find themselves in the heart of all of this corruption are absolutely freaking out, as we can see. Stay right there. We'll come back. We'll continue with David Schoen and Sara Carter. 800-941-SEAN, our toll-free telephone number.
Well, as you can see, the jig is up. That they're accusing Trump. Now it's all being found out. What they were guilty of, they were guilty of what they were accusing Trump of, and it was a setup from the day one. All this is going to be pushed out into the open, and there will be prosecutions involved in this. There's no way other than that. They're all going to be squealing on one another. And the bottom line is they're going to be facing justice real soon for what they put this country through and the American people through. You know, I mean, really unbelievable. And I can't wait because I couldn't stand Brennan from the get-go, Clapper either. And the rest of the lot also are going to be implicated in this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.